Sandra Myers, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, Michael.
Sandra Myers is the founder and president of Select Date Society, an elite matchmaking firm dedicated to serving millionaires, billionaires, and high profile professionals seeking meaningful relationships. First and foremost, Sandra, how did you get started in this industry?
Well, I think the industry found me, but I think I've always been a matchmaker. I think you have to be born with the talent, with the gift of just instinctually knowing when two people are meant to be together. Even if you were to put them on paper, they would sound ridiculous because that's pretty much my husband and I. If you put us on paper, you would think we were nuts, that anybody would think we'd be a good pair. But matchmaking was always something in me. I think after doing 2 years of walking the streets of Miami and Fort Lauderdale, selling long distance, I just tried to make it fun and started setting people up. And then I was told that there was a company that actually does matchmaking. And I'm thinking, oh my God, this could be a job. So I went and interviewed, got the job. So in 1996 was my first actual had a business card to do what I always did anyway. So I've been doing this 30 years and it's just, you're never really working when you do what you love, which I'm sure you understand.
Of course. So, okay, so I have so many questions. Um,
Okay.
First of all, you work with millionaires and billionaires. So, what specifically is different about millionaires and billionaires and hundredaires and thousandaires?
Well, I think when you have millions and billions, money is no longer a part of the pie that's an issue so
Mm,
much. When you're making six figures, money can still be a challenge. You still have to budget. It's not something that you can invest in matchmaking, leave the investment behind, and just focus on what's ahead. It's still something that a lot of times people that make six figures still want to put it on credit card. They still want to, get their points on their American Express card. We don't take any credit cards. We only take a wire transfer. So, clients that work with us typically, they're free. And this is something that they can do because they genuinely want to solve this last life challenge, which usually
right.
that's what it is. Kind of been successful everywhere else. And then this is the last little piece of the pie they want to get right. And they want to outsource it like they've done everything else so that they can put their attention to what they really want to focus on, either their,
Yeah.
companies, kids, or anything else.
Yeah, Sandra, I mean, I'm just thinking here, but like, it also feels like people with common goals and common personalities and common objectives. Like, you can have, you can find someone who you get along with very well if you both love sports passionately. And I think in this case, it sounds like these are people who are just very high functioning, who live a certain lifestyle that you're just focused on their professional career. And a lot of times, like even someone who's very much focused on their professional career, in contrast to someone who's not, it creates friction in a relationship. I'm just thinking out loud here, but I imagine the kind of clientele you get, it comes with a certain unspoken language of what their priorities are and what their common goals are. And sometimes having those people clustered together just makes sense with it work. It might not necessarily just be about them having a lot of money. It can be more indicative of the kind of mindset they're at. Would you agree with that?
Well, so we're not a dating service, and I think you might be confusing or conflating the two. So in
Mm,
a dating service, you're putting everybody that joins your service together and you're fitting them together. It's not like our clients are wealthy and we only set them up with very wealthy people. That's not the case. We do an executive search for them. And it could be somebody that's a professor making $75,000 a year that is an intellectual that's walked in those circles that are comfortable with, the lifestyle that one of our clients lives, and they're a great fit. So the matching has nothing to do with
mm.
the money, but them being a client and being able to freely make the expenditure is typically who we draw, or more the millionaires and billionaires, just due to our price point.
Got
Does
it.
that make sense?
Yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense. So just a little
Okay.
more clarification here. So what specifically about your service, like if you were to compare yourself to a typical service that doesn't cater to millionaires and billionaires, what would be the nuance difference here? In the sense, like, why would if like someone like myself who would be a billionaire, which obviously I'm not, but so should I be, like, why would I come to you rather than a different service?
Well, I mean, why would you go to a Four Seasons or Ritz-Carlton rather than
Because
a
there's higher
Hilton
quality.
or
It's
a
a higher
Holiday
quality.
Inn?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I
well,
mean,
it would be higher quality. It'll be more of a luxury experience. There's a whole bunch of reasons why. So I'm just
exactly.
there we go. Okay. Very, very nice. Okay, so and so you said you've been doing this for 30 years, right?
Mhm.
And you mentioned something at the start of this conversation, which I found interesting because I literally just spoke to someone yesterday about on dating, and she's been doing dating for helping people with dating for many many years. And she said, "Hey, my husband and I have like are very different," and we were talking about how we have all these like theoretical ideas of what the perfect match is, and we end up sometimes with people who really don't fit that that list. And I mentioned that sometimes we try applying logic to an emotion, and you can have logical reasons why you might like someone, but if you have an emotional connection to someone, it's just an emotional connection to someone. And you mentioned about yourself, like your husband. You think, I believe, I didn't want to put words in your mouth, but you said that your husband is very different than what you would have like been looking for or expected, and it's been a match. So I want to know a little bit more about that. Like, you had a theoretical person, you came across your husband, you really, really connected with him. Why was he different than necessarily what you were expecting?
Well, I met my husband through a matchmaker, so you know, I didn't choose him.
Mm,
So again, sometimes, being intelligent and having a high IQ can be the biggest deterrent of love in this area of your life.
mm,
Being smart, being wise, uh being able to calculate information, disseminate information. That's all great, but when it comes to this, it doesn't work. And having great instincts about people and understanding what bonds people to each other, that's the gift that and our superpower here.
mm,
It's what we do exceptionally well. And that's why we have a 90% success rate. But
mm.
again, I do want to make sure, Michael, you understand, like this year, we've only taken on 17 clients.
Wow.
Last year total, we only took on 27. And there's a reason for that. Like there are a couple, a table, you have four legs, right? If one of those legs isn't working, the table can't stand.
Right.
So we have four pillars that we look for in clients to make sure that they've got a rock solid table. So when we find the person, we know that they're ready to eat dinner at the table. If one of the four pillars aren't there, we're not going to move forward with them as a client. And it really does nothing to do with how much money they have, how good looking they are. It has to do with how how ready are they to be a great partner, and how
Mm,
likely are they going to be able to effectively be in a long-term relationship, because that's what we're in the business of. It's not about getting people out on dates. Most of our clients are attractive, they're success. They don't need us for a date. I mean, that's the
right.
last thing they need us for. What they need us for is that deep dive and our instincts and us seeing things beyond what they could intellectually deduce.
Right. And so that's actually fascinating. And that gives me a whole lot more perspective about what you do and what your uniqueness factor is in this industry. It's not, you're right. You're not, it's more of like if you come to Sandra, your success rate is going to be very high. Because if Sandra takes you on, that's a sign that you're in a very good path forward because it's so specific. It's, sometimes we just throw ourselves, we date left and right, and there's so many misses, and that just burns us out. And having someone who can really have a very high success rate, that sounds like a pretty high value proposition to me. This is probably, in my opinion, important decision of your life. It's the person you wake
Well,
up with.
I would agree with you.
Yeah. So
But
having
it's like,
someone who
Michael,
can, Yeah, who can almost guarantee success in that capacity. That sounds like there is no price tag to that.
Yeah, but if you think about it, when you're running a company and you want to hire a CEO or a CFO or a CIO, you're not going to just take the people that walk in off the street and interview 4 or 5 people and say, "Oh, okay, this is the best of what we've got." No, you want a headhunter going out and scouting out the best and the cream of the crop of what's out there so that you know that effectively that you're putting yourself in the best position to win. So that's what our clients want. They want the best chance to have the most incredible relationship, the love of their life that most of them, have come close but haven't yet had.
Hmm. And I imagine reputation is everything for what you do. Having a high success rate is why you're able to charge the prices you do. Is that a proper framing of it? It's not about the quantity, it's really about anyone who comes in should be coming out the door really happy. So you have to be really careful who you let through that door.
That's right.
Interesting. So, I mean, looking back, I mean, how many other people, first of all, how many other people do stuff like this? Or do you say that you're just one of few people in the industry?
No, there's about 5,000 matchmakers in the United States. Globally, it's probably double that. We have
Correct. But with like a
matchmaking.
focus and model like yours, do you say that?
I don't really feel anybody else does it
Mm,
exactly the way we do it. Most times, services are high end, they charge a lot, but it's very rare that you're working with and or speaking with both the owners and that both the owners have vetted you and that you actually have both the owners' cell phone numbers that are not business phones. So when we work with people, if I'm taking someone on as a client, I'm going if I feel confident enough to take you as a client, I'm going to feel confident enough to trust you with my personal cell phone number. That's just unheard of in this industry. And, especially at this level, that you have the connections that you need to really make this happen for someone.
right.
A lot of times I find in the industry, we're trying to fit circles into squares. One of the reasons Amber and I started the business was we've been in the business for over 20 years and we always kept, complaining about, we could do this better. Why don't they listen to us or why aren't they doing it this way? And then my business partner, Amber, she on Mother's Day in 2020 had a cardiac arrest driving her
Mm,
husband, who's blind, and her daughter and mother in law had a cardiac arrest, drove across 4 lanes of the highway into a brick wall, just happened to be
wow.
by a fire station, and they defibrillated her and brought her back to life. I mean, less than 5% of the people on the planet make it through that. So after that, she called me up. She's like, "We're starting our own business." Did I think at 50 I really wanted to start my own business? Not really. But I just thought to myself, I kind of need to put my money where my mouth is. I've got
Right.
to start complaining and start doing something about it.
Right.
So that's kind of how Select Date Society started.
Interesting. I wonder. So you told me you take like between 17 to like 29 clients a year. What's your plan for like growth? Yeah, I feel like, are you looking for,
There is none,
hmm,
zero.
so interesting. That's like, that's not a common answer you get from someone
I
who's
know.
running a company. Like, no, I'm happy where I am. We're always trying to push forward, but that's amazing answer. You're happy where you are. So you're not looking to, because it's almost like counterintuitive where if you were to grow, you might diminish the main value asset of your company, right? The
Oh,
more,
you're dead on. We would diminish. It would not, we would not hold the value of what we do if we get big. And listen, people have come at us. Investors have come. Do you want a franchise? Do you want? I absolutely do not. This is a passion project. This is like my child that I never had. So I don't want to mess with it. We want to do this exceptionally well. And I'd rather work with few people and do it exceptionally well than work with, hundreds of people and kind of sort of get it right sometimes.
right.
That's not. That's not the fun of being in this business.
Curious. So why is the ceiling 30 people, let's say? Like, what
There
breaks
there is
down
no
if you add more?
Yeah, so you're very calculated in your thinking and analytical. So you're trying to equate what we do into a numbers frame.
Right.
We don't. I don't know each year how many I'm not sitting here worried about a paycheck. So I don't know how many people we're going to take. We're going to take on people that we feel confident that's going to support the reputation of our business.
Uh-huh.
Because without the reputation of our business, we have nothing. So this is why I last year we took on 27 clients. This year we're at 17. The number has no effect on how we see success in our business. I mean, we already made Inc. 5,000. We were ranked 639 in 2024. So I mean, we've hit all those buttons that you want to hit growing a company. But when you start, there's a tipping point, and if you've ever read the book, sometimes growth can be a detriment. And for us, that's
Yeah.
exactly how we see it.
So Sandra, why come on this podcast and why share your story?
Because I think that a lot of people don't really look for doing what they do exceptionally well. And that everybody seems to believe that there's only one path to success. And I'm here to say there's other paths to success. You don't have to be the biggest to be the baddest. And sometimes being small, unique, and niche can be just as powerful with where less is more.
Right. So what part about a six like so when you do go through this whole process, what leaves you feeling fulfilled? What specifically is like this is why I do this?
Are you kidding? If you look on our testimonial page, you'll see. I mean, when you find somebody that, so Linda, one of our clients, 62, her husband, literally fell over out of nowhere. And she built a company with him, a family with him. She was devastated. She came to us about a year after she had lost her husband, and she said to me, she's like, is there any way I could get lucky again?" And I'm like, "Yeah, if your heart is open and you're ready." Well, she got married the following April, to a gentleman, the first guy we set her up with, and they're a beautiful couple,
Hmm.
and their families love each other, and she's got a second shot. Who knows? If people are living to 100 right now, she could have another 40 years here. When you give somebody that thinks that love is gone, a lot of people that are widowed or have been married for a long time and they divorce and they've kind of fallen out of the love with the idea of love, and you give that back to them,
Hmm.
there's nothing greater. Because, Michael, I don't know about you, but when you have a partner in crime in life and there's somebody there for you at the end of the day, your business will be better for it when you choose somebody wisely.
Of course.
And when you're with the right person, you will accomplish so much more with the right person than you will on your own.
Yeah.
That I can promise you,
Yeah.
because I'm proof of it.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, we're generally defined by our weakest component. You can be extremely intelligent, you can be great at solving problems, you can be great at recognizing patterns, but if you don't have peace of mind or you don't feel a sense of fulfillment or you're not around someone who's intrinsically making you happy and there for you, everything is 1,000 times more difficult. And even if you're smart, if you're not motivated, it's all 1,000 times harder. So I completely agree. I'm curious. So when you're filtering through people, like, can you fill me in on
Oh,
like,
that sounds terrible. It sounds like I'm a coffee master. I don't
N-
want-
sorry, what do you mean?
Well, when you say filter through people,
Yeah,
all I can think of is my Keurig.
no, no,
But
no. Yeah, I mean, that's what you mean. When you're filtering through potential clients, people to take on,
yeah,
you told me you're very selective, you're very careful, you
yes,
have to be ready. There are certain things you look for. I'm curious if you
yes.
can walk me through some of those things.
Well, I can share a few. I mean, it's complicated. Like I have this puzzle in my mind. It's the best way for me to describe it. And I'm looking at what they're asking me for, what they're actually bringing to the table, how well they're receiving information. If there's something that I push on that maybe they don't agree with, like, are they amenable? Are they going to work with us? There's so many facets to how I calculate in my brain. Yes, this is somebody I would be excited to get up every morning and see their name in
Yeah.
my inbox, in my email, on my phone. And that's how you got to think about it. 'Cause it's a relationship. You
Hmm.
know, we're walking hand in hand with our clients for a year, and we have a relationship with them, so you have to think of it in those terms, and at the end of the day, I trust my gut. I'm not a witch, I don't see dead people, but I have a really good read on people, and, it's served me well so far.
Beautiful. So normally I ask people like, in terms of, and I ask people this question because we all look back, like some of us who work really hard in life are almost non-impressed by our goals that we made yesterday. Life just changes so fast. I generally ask people where they see themselves in 5 years. I feel like your answer is going to be like where I am right now.
Yeah, but even better. I mean, we launched what's called the Founders Club. It's a $1 million membership where Amber and I personally
Wow.
work with one person for the entire year to 24 months until, we find this person their person. And that has been a uniquely interesting proposition that we put forth, that we are doing, and that has been really exciting for us. Because, the super wealthy, people won't realize that when you have a ton of money, right? Not just a little, but when you have a ton of money, it makes it harder to date because you have no idea what somebody is coming for. Are they coming for your
Right. You do
lifestyle?
become paranoid.
Uh,
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really challenging. So to be able to walk in, step by step with them through a process like this, and one of the billionaires that we actually she that got married last on New Year's Eve. I mean, this was the one thing in life that she just could never achieve, and I understand. It's super difficult, but when you're looking at their lives and getting a chance to understand what it's like to be in their life, you have to walk in their shoes. You got to walk the walk, talk the talk. You have to get in there with them, which is what we do on this
Huh.
program, and then you can effectively make a win. And we only work with one of those clients at a time because they really are Amber and I's baby. Like, we're going to make sure that they're protected, their heart's protected, time's protected, and really give them their best option at getting to the
Yeah.
person they deserve.
Yeah. Okay. So Sandra,
So
s-
yeah, that program hopefully will be like the
that's
program
your
that
5 year
runs
plan.
the business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I imagine a big part of you being able to deliver on your commitments is having a strong network of people. Do you go to like events, hide, like just do you go to a lot of events? Because you mentioned earlier on, and I get that energy from you that you're an introvert. So I wonder how you navigate that space of being someone who must be very, very well connected to know, hey, like, because I guess you're not just, you have two parts of an equation. You have to find the right person, but you also have to find the right person for them. So that latter
Right.
part, I imagine, would normally take on a more of an extroverted personality. I mean, just curious here, as someone who's introverted, how do you navigate that?
Well, I'm an extrovert introvert. Like, I can be extroverted when I'm around people, but I per in order to recharge, I need to come home and be left alone. Like, I need to
I
recharge
could
and
not
get
agree
away
more.
from people,
I could not
right?
agree more. When I
So,
go home, no one can be next to me. I need like an hour to do nothing, and then I'm back to normal.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So you understand, you can talk to people, you can be social. But, look, being a matchmaker 30 years, you have to understand it's not a 9 to 5 job. It is not something you turn on and shut off when you're away from your desk.
Right.
When you're a matchmaker, every single person you come across is an opportunity.
Hmm.
Whether they're single or they know somebody that's single. I went to the Amalfi Coast this last October, and I have to tell you, I met more people that weren't single that told me about people that were single, and then one lady that was single, and it's like this whole network in New York opened up for me, for people that I would have never come across had I
Yeah.
not stayed at the border of San Andrea. But at the end of the day, it's just getting in the circles with the people that understand the lifestyle of the people that you're working with. And Amber and I do that all year long. We're in Palm Springs. We've been to the Borgo. I mean, we're all over the place, and that's the beauty of it, is
Mm,
that we get to have balance, personal and mix it with our professional all day, every day. It's the coolest job in the world.
very cool. Sandra, how can people get in touch with you?
So they can go to selectdatesociety.com. That's the easiest way. There's an inquiry form. They can always just fill that out, and either Amber or myself will reach out to them.
Very
And
cool.
yes, we're the ones that reach out to them.
You definitely have a unique personality. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
How so, Michael? I need to know.
Well, you seem very calculated actually as a person. And you seem very something I admire about your bluntness. There's a certain bluntness to you. You haven't necessarily been super blunt towards me, but I feel that you're a very sharp communicator, and that tells me that you get things done. You're effective. You're efficient, and
Thank you.
it's good. It's good energy to feel.
Well, I really appreciate that. I'm glad
Yeah.
I asked because I was kind of concerned that I did. But thank you for having me. It was fun. And I appreciate you taking the time and just, you know, getting to know a business that's probably atypical for you
Yeah,
to
those are the
know.
most interesting. Thank you for your time, Sandra.
You got it.